So first, I'd just like to state that there's a natural order to the universe. It takes a male and a female to reproduce and to create new life. So yesterday it was brought up in discussion, and then I read online an account of a woman at a Planet Fitness gym who complained to management because there was a transgender male in the female locker room because he identified himself as a female, and the woman's membership ended up being revoked because she was talking with other gym members about it. And since Planet Fitness says they're a judgment-free zone, they said that if somebody identifies as a female, that they can use the female locker room. So this takes us to a point where we have to kind of look at where is society headed, and does it have to go that way? First off, I would be on the side with the people that would agree of I probably would have just canceled my membership. Mainly because with opening this door, it opens it to people who do have questionable motives. Granted, there are transgender people who genuinely do identify as female, and like males who identify as females and vice versa, but it would be easy for me to cut my hair off and dress as a guy if I wanted to get into the guys' locker room to check out guys. So it opens that door for men to do that for women and women to do that for men, and that crosses boundaries. And so when we look at the body, I haven't read Theology of the Body, but I've heard enough about it and I know a summary. So when we look at the body and understand how God has created us, when we begin to examine these sex changes or these hormone therapies that prevent children from entering puberty so that they don't have this emotional wreck when their voice lowers or when their boobs start to grow or anything, when we start repressing those things and modifying the body against how we were created, we then make ourselves God, which is pride. So this whole idea of entering into a sex change or anything like that goes against the natural cycle of life of who we're created to be, because it takes a male and female squirrel to create squirrel babies, and just as it takes so we're going against the natural progression, and it ends up making us feel that we're greater than God. And it goes to that with the embryonic stem cell research and anything, or artificial insemination, any of those types of things. But in addition to that, as Christians and as Catholics and as popes have said, we're called to love and have compassion too. So there's a difference between loving and tolerating. So loving, on one hand, is willing the ultimate good for that person and continually. So we're called to love our neighbor. We're called to love everyone. And it's actually wishing the best for them. And then there's tolerance, which puts up with anything that they do, which is different. So I'm sure that if the disciples hadn't changed their way, because Christ says, "Come follow me," if the tax collector had continued cheating people, and I don't know anything else, but if people hadn't actually turned away from their old way of life, they wouldn't have become those followers of Christ. Because whenever Christ heals anyone, whenever he does anything, he says, "Turn away and follow me." Turn from your life of sin and follow me. And through that grace that's granted, we're able to turn and live a life of fulfillment and live in a way that's happy and joyful, while denying those things that are so counterproductive to us going along with the natural cycle of life. So today at Mass, in church, they talked about the Samaritan woman at the well and how Jesus asked her for water, and how she said, "What are you doing talking to me?" And he talks about how he's the living water, and how he is the one, "If you come after me, you will never thirst." And in talking, like Mother Teresa, she had written the "I thirst," and talking about how much Christ thirsts for us to long after him. And so we have the opportunity then to love anyone in the LGBT community, but still not support and condone the behavior. Because we can love and wish for their well-being, which then ends up being your well-being will be in surrendering that to God. Like me, I like to drink. So what do? I don't drink. I deny myself alcohol. And do I do that on my own accord? There's no way. Without God's grace, which I have not been seeking lately, I'm miserable. And I've been miserable the last couple weeks because of everything just going on, and I haven't been truly seeking after God in it. But coming to the realization that it's, oh yeah, once I surrender that to Him and seek Him for the guidance and look for Him in the body and blood, in communion or the Eucharist, in Mass, and I'm going to confession and trying to seek Him through the sacraments, that's when the ability to step back from the sin is in a joyful way, and I can face the trials with joy. Additionally to that, C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity, he talks about the law of nature, and he talks about how we have societal norms, and we have these things around us that we're just, it's kind of an expectation of how we're expected to behave. And I know that with the society that we have now, we're expected to question our sexual interest. I know that I was pretty much, when I was in college and everything, it was, well, why haven't you dated a girl? And it's just like, well, I like guys. But it was looked down upon that I hadn't at least tried it because, well, who knows? But it's against the natural order. And when we look at tradition and everything else, back to arranged marriages or anything like that, back before technology has come to where it is today, which it has never been this advanced, we see a totally different lifestyle and a totally different mindset in society. So I don't know if we're going to go to having gender neutral locker rooms or what exactly we're going to do, but I just hope and encourage anyone who doesn't agree to speak out and just continue to pray and to love, but to understand that difference between loving and tolerating and just moving forward with a genuine interest in well-being, but also understanding fully what that is. Because, even like alcoholism, it's a disease of the mind. It's a psychological issue that I work through continuously, and it's not easy. But it's a very similar thing, because if I were to pursue it, then I wouldn't. It would ultimately end up killing me. Probably, I don't know, but it could. I know it does other people. So, yeah. But that's basically all. Love as God loves us, but also just understanding that His grace grants and can give miracles. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week.